When discussing your football club, there's loads of different subjects. You've got the ownership, you've got the manager, you've got players, you've got the matchday experience, the academy, finances, so on and so forth. And then there's loads of different angles you can take when looking at those topics. You've got what's your desires, what's the club's desires, what's your predictions. Very often different answers. But today I want to put everything to one side, except one thing. Something that's worrying me a little bit about West Ham in terms of on the pitch going into the new season. Something during pre-season which is jumping out at me that says, this is concerning me. And I want to have a little chat about it with you and see what you guys think as well. Now, if you think I usually talk nonsense, you're really not going to enjoy this video because the nonsense factor is getting ramped up. And I've gone one step further. I've got a load of screenshots to back up my nonsense as well. But for those of you who don't mind, please indulge me. I will appreciate it. But if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Trying to hit 45,000 subscribers before we kick off against Sunderland. We're not far away. I think we could do it, but it will require all of you that hasn't subscribed to subscribe. So just double check. Even if you think you have, just double check, because quite often you haven't. You're just getting the videos recommended to you every day because you watch them and you just keep on clicking on them. Just check. And if you're watching on a telly, it's a bit fiddly. If you wouldn't mind, get your phone out and subscribe on there. And also, please do drop a like on the video as well by clicking thumbs up. Can we get 1,000 likes for my nonsense this morning? That would be fantastic. Right, I'm not gonna keep you hanging. My concern with the way that we are playing, and yes, the midfield is one of them, but the midfield actually massively contributes to my biggest concern. My biggest concern is West Ham out of possession and the amount of space we are allowing the opposition's fullbacks. Now, Potter has really honed in on this 3-5-2 formation. I will be shocked if we see anything other than 3-5-2 up until the first international break. After that, with the expectation that Somerville's back or we may sign different players, maybe we will see a switch to the sort of 3-4-3 formation. But for now, I think it's 3-5-2. I think we can all agree on that. So therefore, I'm looking at it and I'm putting my desires to one side. I'm looking at how we are likely to play. And as a result, what am I happy with? What am I unhappy with? And there's one thing in particular that's just concerned me quite a lot. Now, let's get straight into it with my first screenshot. So this is against Bournemouth. And apparently we've got Smith picking up the ball. And this is where I think the opponents are getting a lot of time and a lot of space against us. And I think it's really easy to build attacks against West Ham by just going down our sides. So in this instance, Paqueta's trying to get out. Juve's pinned back a little bit here by Brooks. And as a result, Paqueta's having to run back. Now, in a few times against Bournemouth, we were able to release Juve and put him up against Smith. The problem with that was Brooks was picking it up and getting up against Paqueta. For those that tuned into that game, 2 or 3 occasions, Brooks was one-on-one with Paqueta on the edge of our box, and it was taking him on pretty easily. Now, Paqueta won a couple of them, but when Paqueta didn't win them, Brooks was going around him and straight into our box with no one in front of him. Now, just taking another example here. You can see the build-up. We're now 12 minutes in from the, well, I say centre-backs. Just Tyler Adams has dropped back in now. Zabarni's come on over. But you can just see in the very bottom right corner, you've got Smith there completely unmarked. And there's a little bit of trust me here. But off the screenshot here to your right-hand side, Juve's got Brooks. He's pinned back again. Smith's just backed him right up. So Brooks has dragged Juve back and out. Smith's come into the space. And Paqueta can't get out there. Paqueta's essentially a central midfielder. He cannot come all the way over to this left-hand side because what it would do is create a massive hole in the middle of the pitch. Moving on to the next screenshot. We're 26 minutes in. There's quite a lot of screenshots, so I apologise. But again, it's Zabarni that's got the ball here. You can see Tyler Adams is just dropping in, splitting the centre-backs for Bournemouth, which allows Zabarni to come forward. And you can see Smith, he's on the move straight away because he's, again, now up until this point, Bournemouth were getting a lot of joy down our left or right-hand side. And Paqueta, I thought, was struggling because at one minute he was playing central midfield. Then he was sort of having to become a bit of a left midfielder and get out and close down Smith. But as soon as either we won the ball back and broke, he was now a central midfielder again. But Bournemouth had the ball. And this is a tactic they do quite a lot under Areola, where they will overload one side and it is usually the right side. So this is quite Bournemouth specific, but we are going to play Bournemouth twice, and it won't be the only team that does this. Man City often do overload so that they can release the winger on the opposite side of the pitch, Doku ideally, and get him one-on-one with the fullback. Bournemouth did that last season a lot because of Kerkez over on the left. Now they've sold him, but they've replaced him with Truffert, who, looking at him in pre-season, looks like a pretty reliable replacement for Kerkez, and they're going to have similar tactics, which is get down the right, fill that place up, overload it, and get over to the left. But against us, they were happy to overload the left and switch over to the right because they had Smith and Brooks constantly 2 and 1 down that side. Now, here's just another example. Paqueta's doing what he should do as a midfielder. He's there with Tyler Adams. Zabarni's away to pick the ball up, and he just gives it straight out to Smith, who's playing right back again. But you can see Diouf there. He's on Brooks. Diouf can't move. Diouf cannot get out to Smith. So by the time this happens, Paqueta's having to go from Adams all the way out to Smith, or Diouf's having to leave Brooks and come all the way out to Smith. That didn't happen too much in the first half. It started to happen a bit more in the second half, and this is something I'm going to give acknowledgement to Graham Potter for later on in the video. But in the first half especially, Diouf was sort of stuck to David Brooks. Moving on to the next one. Now, this is a completely different one. So you can see there that Diouf's still on Brooks. But what happens this time is it's down our right-hand side. And this is something that we've seen on a few occasions, where Wan-Bissaka was actually in a good position. Wan-Bissaka was a yard or two behind where he currently is. And that's Tavernier over on the left touchline at the top of your picture. Now, Wan-Bissaka was sort of marking Tavernier, and then Senesi, I never know how you pronounce his name, Senesi, he's got the ball. Now, he was looking like he was going to play it to Truffert out at left back, so that's why Wan-Bissaka's decided, I'm going to go close down Truffert. But the minute he snaps out of that defence, that ball goes over the top of his head to Tavernier. Now, Todibo, as you can see, is seeing Wan-Bissaka move, and Todibo's thought, right, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to cover my Wan-Bissaka, and I'm going to take Tavernier. Now, this happened successfully quite often, but it also, unfortunately, happened unsuccessfully on quite a few occasions in the first half. So this ball over the top of Wan-Bissaka's head was on quite often for Bournemouth, and anyone, again, that tuned into the match, I think you will be able to recall quite a few occasions where that happened, one of them resulting in Evan Nielsen hitting the post from about 2 yards out. Now, moving on to the Lille game. So what I will say about the Bournemouth game, obviously we went in 1-0 up at half-time, thanks to Fulkrug's goal. And I thought in the second half, what Potter did was just stop Wan-Bissaka jumping out, just say, just stay where you are, just stay at right back, let the left back pick the ball up, and don't let them knock that ball over the top of your head. And I thought Bournemouth were almost trying to entice Wan-Bissaka out on quite a few occasions, but he didn't move. He just stayed where he was supposed to be at right back and said, well, we're 1-0 up. We're just going to keep our shape. We're going to keep our 5-3-2 here. And Truffert and Smith were picking the ball up quite often. And there wasn't much press happening, but they weren't really doing much with the ball. Truffert would get it and just go sideways and backwards. He might put it into, sometimes it was Semenyo in the second half. He would just get straight back because Wan-Bissaka was there one-on-one defending with him. And as we know, Wan-Bissaka's brilliant when it comes to that aspect of his game. So it was almost like we just decided to utilise that aspect and said, you know what, we're going to let Wan-Bissaka go one-on-one with her winger because we trust him. And he did a good job. So in the second half, I thought defensively, the structure was really good. However, we were winning. And I think that's something we might see frequently this season, that if we do lead in a game, we might just see Wan-Bissaka be a bit more relaxed, be a bit more defensively structured, and just sit in there and be disciplined. No jumping out and trying to get the left back. No gambling to try and nick the ball and initiate the press. Just stay where you are. And it worked. So I think the changes Potter made at half-time against Bournemouth in the second half worked. Areola had very, very little to do. In the first half, there was a few close calls. They hit the woodwork on a few occasions, 2-3 occasions in the first half. Second half, not so much. Much quieter half for Areola. Defensively, we sat back a lot, and I think that helps Max Kilman in particular much better. But we were leading. Now, I just want to stress, I guess, at this point, that I've watched the Bournemouth game and the Lille game twice. I watch every competitive game twice because the first game I'm probably guilty of watching the ball a lot. So wherever the ball goes, my eye goes. I'm watching the play. But when I watch it back a second time, I'm able to not watch the ball. I'm watching everything else. I'm watching the movement. I'm watching the defensive position. When we're in possession, I'm looking to see who's making the runs. I'm looking to see who's communicating via pointing. Don't know, set pieces. I'm looking at how we're defending, how we're attacking them. I just feel like I see a lot more. So I've gone back and watched the Bournemouth game and the Lille game again. I haven't watched the Everton game again, and I'm not watched the Man U game again. Grasshoppers kind of, because I didn't watch it live. So when I watched it for the first time, I knew the score. I was able to just look at it as if it was the second viewing. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, before we get on to the Lille game, as we're discussing weaknesses in Graham Potter's system, or what I think is the biggest weakness in Graham Potter's system, I'll tell you where you don't want a weakness. Your devices that's connected to your internet. But don't worry, we can help with that. And that is with a VPN. We've got a deal for you with Surfshark. Now, one of my favourite things about having Surfshark, and this came into play when we played Lille, because West Ham were streaming the game on their website and on their app. However, if you found yourself in the States and your phone thought you were in the States, you were unable to watch it. It said, sorry, because of where you reside, you're not allowed to watch this. You're not getting the football match. Sorry, you can't watch West Ham. But those of you who had a VPN, like Michael, decided to switch his device to, speaking of Michael, Glasgow. He told us in the build-up show on the watch-along, switched his device to say that he was in Glasgow, and because his device thought he was in the UK, he was able to access the West Ham game on Saturday, even though geographically he shouldn't have been able to. By changing his geolocation, sorted. It's a good perk. So say, for example, Netflix brings something out in America at 3 p.m. on Saturday, and you're thinking, damn, I wish I was in America at 3 p.m. on Saturday. I'd be able to watch that new show on Netflix by changing the location of my phone. Surfshark allows you to do that. But we've got a deal for you. 4 months free. If you go to surfshark.com/hammerschat, links in the description below. The offer is automatically applied. You don't need to do anything else. You just select the terms you would like for your VPN coverage. Pay for it, job done. One account, unlimited devices. Unlimited devices. So say you wanted to protect your kids' phones. You could do that by you signing up, you paying, you logging in on your device, then you log in on their device as well. And if you're thinking, oh, I'm intrigued, but I'm not sure, good. That's all right. Give it a go. Because of the 30-day money-back guarantee. So you get it today, this time next month, you think, I don't really fancy this. Maybe do it after 29 days. You can go get a full refund. No questions asked. You just go on, say you want to cancel it, you want your refund, you get your money back in your account within a few days. Simple as that. I've tried it myself. I tested it to make sure it worked. It works. Anyway, Gonzo's been using Surfshark for 3-4 years now. He influenced me. So a couple of years ago, I acquired a VPN, mentioned it to Gonzo, and Gonzo said, I use Surfshark. Now I had a problem. So I went and got it. So I was influenced by Gonzo. Anyway, surfshark.com/hammerschat can be quite handy if you need to change the location of your phone. Right, Lille game. Here we go. Same problem. 1 minute, 26 seconds into the game. And this time it's Parod. And this was going to be a constant feature down Lille's left, our right. So Wan-Bissaka's stuck. He's got Felix on him. James Ward-Prowse, who's the closest West Ham player, is a midfielder. As you can see, there's a player not far away from him anyway. Lille have just switched to play really quickly. Ward-Prowse is struggling to get over. There's a lot of ground to make up. And this isn't a criticism of Ward-Prowse, by the way. This is me just trying to show what I'm concerned about. But unfortunately, Paqueta and Ward-Prowse are going to be frequent in these screenshots, as is Wan-Bissaka and Diouf, because it's that area of the pitch between these players, between Diouf and Paqueta, between Ward-Prowse and Wan-Bissaka, that I'm concerned. Now, sticking with the Lille game, this is what I liked. I liked this. Wan-Bissaka went up. Wan-Bissaka said to Debo, you're going to have to come over. You come over and get Felix. I'm going to push up. You can see Bowen's on his centre-back there. Fulkrug was on the centre-back. He's heading to the keeper who has just played out from a goal kick. You can see Ward-Prowse is up there on Andre. Wan-Bissaka's on Parod. This is good. It's man for man. It's aggressive. It is risky, but it's high risk, high reward sometimes, as we were going to find out later on in the game. But Wan-Bissaka's come away from Felix. Tadebo's come into a right back position. Wan-Bissaka's gone up, and they struggled to get this one out. We eventually win it back and end up having a bit of a moment in Lille's third. But here, just 4 minutes into the game, you can see the obvious vacant player here. The keeper just bypasses his centre-back, goes straight to Parod. And again, Ward-Prowse is there. He's on Andre. I think it's Andre. But Wan-Bissaka stuck with Felix. So there's no one to really come out and mark their left back. Perraud is their number 15, who you can see at the bottom left of your screen there. So that ball goes straight out to Perraud, who turns. And he's able to travel a good 15 yards or something unchallenged. While he's travelling with it, poor old James Ward-Prowse is trying to go from the centre circle, from where he was man marking their deeper midfielder, to get out and mark Perraud. It's a very, very difficult role to do. But again, here, you can see, there you go. The ball goes out to Perraud. Ward-Prowse now, he's away to start coming over. Wan-Bissaka stuck. Felix is off your picture there next to Adam Wan-Bissaka. So Wan-Bissaka can't go forward. Ward-Prowse is trying to come across. And look how much space he's got. He's just got tons of it. He gets the ball and he travels forward. Now, fortunately, Perraud wasn't that great in this game. He was picking up good spaces. He was making good runs. A couple of times he did cross it. It wasn't very good. There was a couple of times he made quite a weak pass as well, and we were able to intercept it. Again, 11 minutes in. Now, Bowen does something half decent here. Bowen cuts the channel. Bowen stops that pass coming directly out to Perraud. All it does is just slows the play down. You can see the centre-back there just saying to Macau, actually, the player on the ball is the one that we're being linked to. You can see him saying to Macau, give it out to Perraud there. Perraud wants it, give it out to him. Can't go direct, so he just goes around him, gives it to the centre-back, it comes out. But again, you can see Ward-Prowse, he's stuck. He's on Andre. Wan-Bissaka, he's stuck. So there's this massive space, and there's no one to fill it from West Ham. And this is just another example here. 13 minutes in, centre-back, out to Perraud. Ward-Prowse is already on the move. Ward-Prowse has decided to leave his man. He's going to come out. But he's got so much ground to make up, and I don't think it helps too much that our strikers aren't really pressing. They're allowing the centre-backs to have the ball. The ball was on the right, they're now shifting it over to the left. It's nice and simple, quite easy. Again, just another example. Ward-Prowse has now got Haraldson in his vicinity of the pitch, so he can't move. Wan-Bissaka can't move. Just another simple ball out. This pass was on. I mean, we're 70 minutes in. I've only shown you, I could have tripled the amount of screenshots I had from both games. Don't want to bore you that much. And I'd show you footage if I wasn't worried about copyright and losing my channel. I don't want to be doing that, so you're going to have to put up with screenshots. But here's one where Ward-Prowse started to get a bit frustrated. So you can see here, we're 22 minutes in now. McCall's on the ball. And, no, sorry, McCall's looking for the ball. Alexandro, I think his name is he's got it. So you can see Ward-Prowse is looking at McCall thinking, right, he's away, get it. Which, when you look at the centre-back with the ball, you can see him. He's telling him to come closer. He's looking at him. So Ward-Prowse anticipates this and thinks, well, I'm going to press him. So if the ball does come in, I'm going to nick it. Sorry, I don't have, by the way, I think that's the right thing to do for Ward-Prowse here. Unfortunately for Ward-Prowse, the ball doesn't do that. It goes out to the left. So basically, it comes out to the other centre-back, out to Perraud. Ward-Prowse then runs out to Perraud, who just passes to McCall, who Ward-Prowse was marking. You can see Ward-Prowse frustrated. Fulkrug's frustrated. Bowen's frustrated. They're all looking, saying, hang on a minute, who's marking him? Well, the problem was, take a note of the time there, 39 seconds. 7 seconds ago, it was Ward-Prowse that was marking him. But he's had to come out to the left-hand side, or our right-hand side, to close down Perraud. And at the same time, that's what's happened. And now Lille have got the ball to the player they want to get on the ball. And he's got the whole pitch ahead of him. Now, eventually, this ball goes out to the right-back. Mandy, I think his name was. He crosses it. Areola catches it. But it was simple to build up for. Now, this is an example of a good press, though. Again, just a few minutes later, Wan-Bissaka's come away. Wan-Bissaka's got away from Felix. He's now on Perraud. Ward-Prowse is able to stick with McCaw. Bowen's now on a centre-back. Fulkrug's on a centre-back. And what happened here was the centre-back had it and he was looking for Perraud. But we'd shut it down completely. He had no option but to go backwards to the goalkeeper. We can press good. But here's an example, unfortunately, of a bad press. So the ball gets played into McCaw. Now, the reason I'm picking this one out is because of the person with McCaw. And that's Todibo. What on earth is Todibo doing there? I don't know. I don't know why Todibo's there. He shouldn't be there. And we've initiated a bit of a high press here because you can see Juve at the top of your picture. He's gone right up to Mandy. Paqueta's gone right up as well. So that leaves a lot of room in the middle of the pitch. So Lille have got their three centre midfielders there with Andre, Haddleton and McCaw. And West Ham have only got two with Potts and Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse is trying to get back in. Paqueta's on his way back. Juice's on his way back. Potts is trying to get back. Todibo's got sucked in there. And it's just a simple layoff from McCaw down to Haddleton. And as a result, Haddleton plays it out to Perraud and he travels about 30 yards with the ball, Perraud. Now, Ward-Prowse is busting his ass to get back. It's just there's a lot of ground for him to make up. And by the time this eventually leads to a cross from Perraud, which we cleared easily enough. But it's just a lot of warning signs for me. Now, in the second half, though, I thought we did a lot better. I thought we were good in the second half. I enjoyed it. Watching it back a second time, I enjoyed it even more. I thought our press was much more aggressive, much higher up the pitch, one-on-one. And we got rid of the worry that we had in the first half that I was concerned about. It was gone in the second half. And here's a pic. Now, I struggled to get a screenshot that included Wan-Bissaka and Juve, and also was quite clear. A lot of the times, because our press was actually quite good, Leo were having to go long and it was all bloody. But you can see here, Wan-Bissaka's on that side of the pitch. You've got Bowen chasing a centre-back. Fulkrug's on another centre-back. Potts is on Haddleton, who's number 7. Juve's got an eye over his shoulder on Toure. The press is good. In the second half, I thought Leo were trying to play it out from the back, but couldn't. Now, you can see McCaw's trying to get a little bit of space. He's trying to get a bit of room, but I promise you, just that shadow that you can see on the right of your screen ever so slightly, that's Lucas Paqueta. So he's got McCaw as well. So actually what we've done is we've just closed Lille in and said, come on then, man, we're going to go man for man. You're not going to get out to your left back. You're not going to come running down the sides. And we're going to trust our centre-backs. We're going to say to Gerrard and Todibo, you're good on the halfway line. You're fast. Use your pace. Kilman's aggressive with Giroud. I liked it. Now, there was something that worried me in the second half, though. And obviously we won. We got a goal from pressing like that. And when one of my frustrations with Juve defending so much. Now, let me just see if I can just pick a random one and hopefully get it right. Let's just go with this one. That's not the end of the world, but it's more when we're a bit deeper. If we win the ball and Juve gets in, as it happened on a few occasions against Bournemouth, he was up against Brooks, and then if he skinned Brooks, he was then up against Smith. He was essentially had 2 players to beat. But in the second half against Lille, that didn't really happen. If say Juve won the ball, we got the ball to Juve here, he's one-on-one with a fullback and he's getting his cross in. I think we can agree we're going to be using Juve and Wan-Bissaka as our threat quite a lot this season, like why getting crosses in. You want them higher up the pitch. So when we win the ball back, you don't want them on the edge of your own box. You want them away from your defence, in line with your midfield, closer to your attack, so that you can counter-attack a lot quicker. If we go back to the Bowen's goal against Bournemouth, that ball out to Juve from Paqueta, I think it was. Bang, out to Juve, cross into Bowen, goal. Simple, but Juve was high up the pitch when we started the attack, and it makes a significant difference. And I was impressed with our tactics in the second half. I thought we got rid of our weaknesses, and actually I think we almost turned it into our strength a little bit. But here's a concern of mine, and it's not in relation to this, it's the second one. It's the midfield in the second half. Now, in the second half, I thought our press was aggressive. I thought we were going man for man on the halfway line, and I like it. I just want to be clear, I like it. But in the second half, our midfield, I thought, was weak once we'd done the subs. So, in this occasion, Ward-Prowse gets beaten, and Rodriguez is just too slow to get over. And you can see there, it's now a 3-on-4 attack, but the concerning thing is, Kilman's facing the ball, Wan-Bissaka's facing the ball, but Giroud and Haddleton are now running towards our goal, and only Gerrard's really running in the direction you want him to be. And this happened on multiple occasions towards the end of the game, where our midfield was just getting bypassed so easily, and we're just coming down the middle of the pitch. But because our press was so aggressive, Walker-Peters and Juve were so high up the pitch, there was not much recovery there from them. It was almost like 3-on-3 at the back at times, a bit scary. Now, this is why I'll go full circle. And whilst I've tried to put everything to one side, it comes down to the midfield. I think the midfield is a big issue if we're going to do that aggressive press. I want to see us do that aggressive press. I think we're good at it when we get Wan-Bissaka and Juve on their full-backs and say, we're not going to let you play out from the back. We're going to press you. And like I said, it led to our goal. Fulkrug on the goalkeeper. Bowen pressed. Walker-Peters intercepted it. Bowen gave it to Souček, cut it back. Fulkrug scored. But again, we win the ball back high up the pitch. And within that area of the pitch, we had Walker-Peters, Bowen, Souček and Fulkrug. Brilliant. 4 players right up in Lille's face. So when we won it back, pass, goal into the back of the empty net. Beautiful. Love that. I want to see more goals like that. But it's the payoff. Well, what's the risk? It's the midfield. And this is where I think I didn't even want to say this in this video, but I've taught myself into it now. Welcome to the nonsense. I cannot stress how important it is that we get new midfielders this summer, because we cannot have that situation where our midfield is just getting bypassed completely because it's 3-on-3. The defence will have way too much to do. So you want to press high, you want to be aggressive, which I do. It puts more pressure on your midfield. If you're going to sit off and you're going to leave Wan-Bissaka and Juve further back, there's less pressure on your midfield. There's pressure on Paqueta and Ward-Prowse to get out. But ultimately, what happened against Bournemouth and Lille because of the full-backs of the opposition getting high? Nothing. Bournemouth didn't really do anything. Lille didn't do anything. They got a goal, but that had nothing to do with that. That was just a wonderful ball over the top and a fantastic finish and bad defending by someone, which is inconclusive because of the camera angles. I suspect it's Wan-Bissaka keeping them on side, but there's no definitive proof of that. So that's, I think when we're sitting back and letting them have the ball, that's us in safety mode. But I want to see us in risky mode. But to do that, I think you need your midfield. Now, here's something that I've referred to a couple of times. It made me laugh, but I'll tell you what, it's bloody worrying. I've got 2 screenshots. So this is, you want to take the seconds, 19 seconds on the clock, right? 18:19. So 19 seconds in the 80th minute. So we've just lost the ball. It's Rodriguez has just lost the ball. So you can see here, right, Walker-Peters is starting to get it back. You can see Souček, who's the player nearest the referee, on his way back. He's looking, thinking, well, I'm going to have to go cover that. Rodriguez is panicking because he's just lost the ball. He's in the duel. Ward-Prowse looks like he's knackered and he's thinking, bloody hell, I've got to go back again. Bowen's probably thinking, oh, bloody hell. Juve's thinking, right, there's my man. I'm going to start getting back. But the man I want to point to is the guy, well, it's Fulkrug. You know what Fulkrug looks like. He's on the move, right? He's on the move. And I mentioned this a couple of times after. I'm impressed by Fulkrug, but this is alarming, right? It's funny, but alarming. Fulkrug wins the ball. 7 seconds later, that's Fulkrug tackling him. Fulkrug, right? So there's Juve, Souček, Rodriguez, Ward-Prowse, Walker-Peters. They're all closer to West Ham's goal than Nicholas Fulkrug at this point. Now, Fulkrug, just to reiterate, has been on the pitch from the start. Souček's just come on. Rodriguez has just come on. Walker-Peters has just come on. They've barely been on the pitch. Less than 10 minutes. Fulkrug is closer to our goal than Ward-Prowse, Rodriguez, Walker-Peters and Souček. He gets back and wins the ball. I mean, brilliant play by Fulkrug. But what on earth, how's Souček, right? Look where Souček is. What is he? 5 yards away from the ball, maybe? He's still 5 yards away from the ball. He's just ran in a straight line. Now, granted, he's got Haraldson, but you can't just run with Haraldson and leave this guy to have a clean run down the middle of the pitch, because that's what happened. And I know you would argue and say, well, Wan-Bissaka would surely come over and cover him. You'd like to think so, but he didn't. Fulkrug won it. I can't get over it. Maybe it's just me, but I cannot get over it. From that to that, Fulkrug ran past 5 of them. 3 of them had just come off the bench. Anyway, I'm going to finish it up. You know what I'm thinking. This is a concern of mine. The amount of space that the fullbacks are getting. I think it's easy. I think it's an easy ball. I think we'll see this quite a lot. The opposition just playing out to the fullback and he's travelling forward with it. It's an easy out ball for them. But when we do go aggressive, I like it. And I think we'll yield a few goals off the back of it. But I can't help but think that to do that, and I think Juve and Wan-Bissaka are pretty good at it, actually. I've been quite impressed. And I think Agerd and Todibo aren't the worst at covering. They need to do a bit more. I think they need to encourage their wing-backs a bit more to get up. But they've got Agerd's fast. Today, but we've seen him look fast and look slow. It's quite impressive. And then you've got the aggressive one in Kilman in the middle up against a striker who sometimes will be physical. And then Kilman's okay with the physicality. It's when it's a foot race, I think that's when he's going to struggle. See Rasmus Højlund in America. So I want to see us do that press. And it might be that we go to the box midfield in order to get rid of that weakness. But regardless of whether we're doing the high press or whether we're going to a box midfield, I think it comes back to the same problem that we've got. In order to do that, I think we need different midfielders. And I don't think we've got them at the club right now. So I think we're going to have to invest heavily in that area of the pitch. Because I think sometimes you can see what Potter wants to do. I'm just not sure he's confident that the players he's got allows him to do that. Anyway, thank you very much for putting on. Bloody hell, half an hour. Sorry, I thought this was going to be about 15, 20 minutes. Half an hour of my nonsense. Thank you. That's my biggest concern. On the pitch, out of possession, that's my biggest concern. We'll see. Maybe against Sunderland, it's not even a thing. You'll all say, well, that was a waste of a half hour, isn't it, Gio? Thanks for wasting half an hour of my day. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate for you watching and indulging me. If you have somehow enjoyed the video, please do drop a comment by clicking thumbs up. Subscribe to Hammer's Chat. Getting close to 45,000. I'll catch you in a bit.